Hello, good afternoon or good evening, good morning to everyone who is watching the video or the tutorials for my course in international trade at Australian Maritime College, University of Tasmania. Today I am going to discuss about the theories of international trade and investment, which is the module 3 of our course outline. Let's have a look on the focused question what we are going to discuss today. So we'll be actually focusing in our whole lecture these three questions. The first question is, why do nations trade? How do they enhance their competitive advantage? We'll be looking for firstly competitive advantage and then competitive advantage, and then we'll be looking for how why do nations doing the trade, and how they're increasing their competitive advantage in doing the trade. Then we'll be looking for why do firms internationalize? What is the importance for them to having the internationalization? How do international trade and investment theories explain this case? And then finally, we'll be looking for how can international firms gain and sustain competitive advantage. So this will be actually main focus, but we'll be discussing a few more things. So this is actually the flow chart for today's lecture. You will see the yellow color section in which we'll be explaining this based on the nations level. So why do the nations have they are having the trade? So we'll be looking for this. Let's say we'll be looking for mercantilism, absolute advantage, comparative advantage, and then international product life cycle theory, also new trade theories we'll be discussing if we have the time. And then some contemporary theories are also there, why nations are doing trade. So this is actually the second portion of the of the why nations do the trade. And then we'll be looking for like why firms are going to be internationalized, like why they're having the international entrepreneurship. So we'll be looking for also this. So firstly, why nations do the trade. So yes, we'll be going a little bit like step by step. So before going there, actually I have developed some very fundamental concepts of international, which is of economics, which is very crucial to know about, like opportunity cost, factors of production, productivity. This has been developed in Milo of the University of Tasmania's model. Um, Let's have a look on Milo. But here we are not going to the Milo directly. Let's have a discussion step by step. So, why do nations trade? Um, there are many theories. So actually, theories are nothing that theories are nothing that gives the idea what to do. Rather, theories sometimes developed based on what is now going on in the society. So the first one is about the mercantilism. So let's look at mercantilism. What is mercantilism? So mercantilism is the belief that national prosperity, the national development, will be coming with the positive balance of trade. Like balance of trade, meaning like when you maximize your exports and minimizing your imports. So this concept was developed and it was prevalent in 1500 to 1700, 1800, and early days of the 1700. It was very popular. So all the time the nations at that time wanted to increase their increase their exports. So and then this concept is called the zero sum game. That means zero sum game is like a concept. If somebody is getting the benefit, other one must be lost. Like he, the other person or other countries must be losing something. So it is called the zero sum game. So in this concept, at that time, the countries or nations used to be increasing their export at the cost of the imports of others. So that's why it's called the zero sum game. Like profit should be coming, at the cost of the loss of others. So it's called the zero sum game. So sometimes some revised theory also comes called new mercantilism, the idea that nations should run a trade surplus. That means it's a much more extreme part. Like one is balance of trade, another is like having the more surplus in exports. So why people support, or which type of people supports this mercantilism complete? Like it includes labor union, then farmers. Why labor union? Because they want to protect their domestic jobs. That's why labor union supports this. Farmers, they want to have the high prices of their crops and their grains, and some manufacturers also, because they rely on the export. So they advocate for this theory. But in 1976, the greatest economist, a Scottish economist, his name is Adam Smith. He comes up with the concept of absolute advantage, and he told countries differ in their ability to produce goods efficiently. So a country has an absolute advantage in the production of a product when it is more efficient than any other country in producing it. Okay, so if a country has the absolute advantage, meaning he can efficiently, it can she can efficiently produce goods over another country. So according to Adam Smith, trade is not a zero-sum game, which has been mentioned earlier in the mercantilism. So Smith wants to say trade is not a zero-sum game, and he also want to say countries. I wanted to say countries should specialize in the production of the goods for which they have an absolute advantage, and then trade these goods for the goods produced by other countries. So if China and USA, let's say China is good in producing, they have the absolute advantage. We call the absolute advantage means then we have some comparison between countries. So here USA and China, let's say. So China has the absolute advantage in producing ready-made garments. So and they should specialize it, and then they should produce much on it. On the other hand, USA has absolute advantage in having some in producing some electric vehicle, let's say, and then USA should focus on it and reduce their increase their export of the electric vehicle, and this is why the country could get the benefit. So this is the concept of the absolute advantage. Let's have a look on the figure. So let's have an example of the Ghana and South Korea. So here actually we have the resources. Let's say we have the resources of 200. When we are talking about the resources includes labor, time, capital, everything. So let's say here in Ghana, they have only four people in Ghana and South Korea. For you, just the simplicity to understand the theory, that's it, nothing else. And they have 50 50 hours, 50 hours in a month to work. So and then it will be 200 resources they have. That's what I wanted to say. So resources mean like the capability, the capacity you have. Okay, so here as an example, we have assumed that 200 resources we have, Ghana and South Korea have to produce this. Okay, so and then this is mentioned like required to produce one. These are the resources. Okay, reduced to produce 1 ton of cocoa and rice. So to produce Ghana to produce 1 ton of cocoa, they needs 10 resources. On the other hand, if they want to produce rice, they need 20 resources. In the case of South Korea, they needs 40 resources to produce 1 ton of cocoa. You see, if we see these two country, uh, uh, cocoa for producing cocoa, 1 ton of cocoa, Ghana needs only 10 resources. On the other hand, South Korea needs 40. So for rice, South Korea needs only 10 resources, but Ghana needs like 20. So you see, it's very visible that South Korea needs higher resources, uh, higher resources to produce cocoa, meaning Ghana, Ghana has the competitive advantage in producing cocoa. On the other hand, if we see this one, see only 10 units they need, so we can say South Korea needs the less in producing rice, so they have the competitive advantage producing rice. So the what will be the production like and consumption without trade? So let's say every country has the 200 resources, and if we divide 200 resources into 100, so Ghana will be able to produce 10 ton. Okay, by 100 resources for cocoa and 100 resources for rice. So by 100 resources, because they have total 200 resources, so for 100 resources they use 10. Okay, and then 100 resources they use 10, and then 10 for part, and they come up with 10 ton. And because they need 20 to produce rice, so by 100 they could come up with 5. For South Korea, they need for cocoa 40 resources, meaning they will be able to come up with 2.5 ton. And for rice they'll come up with 10 ton. So if we see the overall production and consumption by these two countries, we can come up with, like you see, for cocoa they can jointly produce like 12 and a half ton, and 15 ton for rice. Now come up with this specialization. We discussed about the absolute advantage. So Ghana has the absolute advantage in producing cocoa, and South Korea has the absolute advantage in produce rice. So if Ghana emphasize on the cocoa, with the 200 resources, they could come up with 20 ton and zero in rice. And in the 200, South Korea can produce 20 ton of rice, and total they could 20 and 20. It's like 40. But if we see here, it's like a 27.5. Here we see total, it's like 40. Okay. Now, if they trade, let's say Ghana increases, Ghana gives 6 ton to 6 ton cocoa, 6 ton cocoa to South Korea, and then South Korea gives 6 ton to Ghana. This is rice. So, and then they can, they can have jointly enjoy the benefit of absolute advantage. So this is actually, increases in, and now we can say increases in the, consumption as a result of trade. So Ghana increases 4 ton of cocoa, South Korea increases 3.5 ton. Then Ghana increases 1 ton of their rice consumption, and South Korea increases 4 ton of their rice consumption. So this is the absolute advantage. But you might already think, if Ghana and South Korea both, among them, South Korea has the competitive advantage, absolute advantage in both of the products. Do we need still have to have the trade? Again, I ask this question to you. Let's say if South Korea has the absolute advantage in producing both cocoa and rice, still do we need to have the trade? Yes. So uh, this is the This is the different, theory is called comparative advantage. So, given by David Ricardo, another renowned economist, in his book, The Principles of Political Economy and the Taxation. So, he told what happens when one country has an absolute advantage in the production of all goods. Yes, the proposed theory of comparative advantage. A country should specialize in the production of those goods that it produces most efficiently and buy the goods that is produced comparatively less efficiently from other countries. So it seems still bog to you. Maybe you can think, how could it be possible? Let's say, just before going there, again, like he told, yes, we can still have the gains from trade, though a country have the absolute advantage in producing this, and it is a positive sum game. Okay, and like the potential world production is greater with unrestricted period than it is restricted. So let's have a look on the comparative advantage. So here you see Ghana requires 10 resources for cocoa and 40 resources and 13.33 for rice. South Korea needs uh, 40 resources for cocoa and 20 for rice. And if they because without if they do without trade, so Ghana come up with 10 ton cocoa, 7.5 ton rice, and South Korea come up with 2.5 and 5 tons of cocoa and rice respectively. They come up with 12.5, 12.5 uh, um, the total production. But before going there, let's have a look. You see, South Korea requires 40 resources for producing one cocoa, but Ghana needs only 10. So actually, Ghana has the competitive advantage here. Sorry, absolute advantage here. Also, in producing rice, for this example, we see South Korea needs 20 resources. On the other hand, they need 20.33. So still here also Ghana has the absolute advantage in producing rice too. So that's what like now product with the specialization. So let's say Ghana uses its partial resources, 150 resources out of 200 resources, 100 to produce uh, uh, to produce cocoa. So they are coming up with 15 metric ton. On the other hand, if they use the rest of the 50 resources to produce rice, they will be coming up with 3.75 metric ton. And South Korea, if they come up with 100%, like 200 resources to produce the rice, they're coming up with 10. And if we get there, and this you see, South Korea is coming up with 15. Sorry, Ghana total production of cocoa is 15 and total production of uh, rice is 13.5, which is comparatively higher than this is the one. Okay, so now if they divide their consumption, let's say Ghana is giving 4 to South Korea of their cocoa. On the other hand, and also receives 4 metric ton of rice, and then they could be oil off. They could be both oil off. So you might think still it is not clear to you. Before going there, just you still see their consumption has increased by 1 metric ton for Ghana for cocoa, and for South Korea 1.5. For 0.25 of their consumption they have increased for rice, and one metric ton of their South Korea's rice. So I actually why I go very quickly in this section, I also developed another example from the book of the Gregory Mankiw, 8th edition. So by the way, I have mentioned all the books name from which I have taken these examples. So let's have the look here. So it's the case of the two farmers, two person who are living in a place. One is farmer, another is rancher. And in the book of the Gregory Mankiw, the farmer's name has been mentioned Frank and the rancher who is cultivating the cows, beef, cows, and then lambs, this and that. So rancher. So Ruby, the name of the rancher is Ruby, and it's a very interesting example. It's a very understand thing to understand. So here we see the case, like uh, for producing, like they are living. Let me give you the example. So the farmer and the rancher, they are living in a place. Let's say no other people are there, and this is the case how much time they take here. The resources is only given as a time has been given just as a resource. They don't have that much time. Okay, so everything they have to do with this. So oz means ounces. So farmer, like Frank, the farmer here, farmer Frank needs 60 minutes to produce 1 ounce of meat, and he needs 15 minutes to produce ounce of potatoes. On the other hand, Ruby, the rancher, she needs 20 minutes to produce meat and 10 minutes to produce potatoes. So let's say they have total 8 hours. It is the resources. So by these 8 hours, if they give their 100% to the production of the meat, then then the frank will be coming up with 8 ounces, and then Ruby will be coming up with 24 ounces. You see here very visibly. Uh, Ruby's meat production is comparatively higher, meaning Ruby has the absolute advantage over producing the meat. If they give their full time to produce potatoes, the farmer is coming up with 32 two ounces, and the rancher Ruby is coming up with 48 ounces. So still here also, in producing potatoes, Ruby has the absolute advantage. And if we see, let's say, like if they produce zero meat, if they produce zero potatoes, okay, Frank, I am talking about Frank. If Frank produce zero potatoes, he will be coming up with 8 ounces of meat. On the other hand, if he produces zero meat, he's coming up with 32 ounces. And this is called the production possibility frontier, this line. That means his consumption will be within if he divides his time, let's say 8 hours, he divides into 4 hours, 4 hours. So he will be coming up with 4 ounces of meat and 16 ounces of potatoes. So this is also called the, this is the overall, and he can come up with any place of this. Okay, any place of this he can come with any threshold. That's interesting, like threshold, any amount. This is the case of also for the franks. Like if he uses zero potatoes, he produces zero potatoes, he come up with 24 ounces of meat. And if he produces ruby, if she produces zero meats, then come up with 48 potatoes. And even she can divide her time into two sections, like for 50%, 50%, and come up with 12 ounces of meat and 24 ounces of potatoes. So let's read the case. So after several years of eating combination B, that means which here we have shown, like though I didn't mention about the combination B, like combination B means the threshold of 50%, 50%. So Ruby gets an idea and goes to talk to Frank. So Ruby says, Frank, my friend, have I got a deal for you? And I know how to improve life for both of us. I think you should stop producing meat altogether. You should stop producing meat altogether. That means I will be producing meat 100%, and devote all of your time to growing potatoes. Okay, you see, if just before finishing this segment, so if the farmer uh, gives 100% of his time to produce potato, so he will be coming up with 32 ounces, because for 1 ounces it 15 time. So for 1 hour they can come up with 4, and then for 8 hours they're coming up with 32. Okay, this is the case. Okay. Okay, and then according to my calculations, if you work 8 hours a day growing, yeah, potatoes, you will produce 32 ounces of potatoes. I have shown here. If you give me 15 of those 32 ounces, I'll give you 5 ounces of meat in return. So if farmer is given 5 ounces of meat in return of 17 ounces of potatoes, so how much left for the farmer? So for the farmer, it will be like, 32, sorry, 32 minus 17. Okay. Oh, sorry, 15, 15, and it will be 17 ounces the farmer will have, and plus of potatoes, and plus 5 ounces of meat. Okay. Uh, in the end, you will get up with 17 ounces of potatoes and 5 ounces of meat every day. Instead of the 16 ounces of potatoes and 4 ounces of meat you now get. So here example you see, if they give their if France give their 50% so of the time to produce meat and potato, they are coming up with 4 ounces of meat and 16 ounces of potatoes. But in the new case, it is suggested they will get 17 instead of 16, and here 5. You see, increases 1 1. And okay, so and so it's total 17 ounces instead of 16 ounces of potatoes and 4 ounces of meat you now get. If you go along with my plan, you will have more both of foods. Okay, but it sounds skeptical. And Frank, the farmer, says that seems like a good deal for me, but I'm not sure why you are offering it. Because if the deal is so good for me, why it can be good for you too? Okay, got like it's like the farmer is thinking it's about the zero sum game. Oh, but it is. Suppose I spend 6 hours, and Ruby says, if I spend 6 hours a day, you see, if Ruby spends 6 hours a day for producing meat, raising cattle. So, like she'll be coming up with, by 1 hour, she'll be coming up with 3 ounces, and 6 hours, she'll be coming up with 18 ounces. Very interesting. And 2 hours, the rest of the 2 hours for potatoes. So, like for by 1 hour, they're coming, she's coming up with 6 ounces of potato, and the two, it's a 12. So, she will be coming up with 18 ounces of meat, and then 12 ounces of potatoes. And if she gives, you know it if she gives 5 ounces, okay, so 5 ounces to the farmer, still she will have 13. And if she gets 15, so 15 plus 12, she will be having the 27. You see, if I see the previous one, she used to have, she divided 50%, 50%. So she will have 12 ounces of meat and 24 ounces of potatoes. But now she is getting 13 and 27. So 3 more ounces of potato, 1 more ounces of meat. So this is actually, this is actually the competitive advantage, based on the, like, if still the countries have the absolute advantage producing too, but if they share their resources, but then they will be, both of them could be trade off. But here it is very important to know. So how much to focus. So let's have a look on this is the calculation what I have shown here. So now the scenario has given us the example of the competitive advantage and the opportunity cost competitive advantage. So opportunity cost of some item is what we give up to get that item. Okay, so in our example, we assume that Frank and Ruby each spend 8 hours a working day. So time is spent producing potatoes, therefore take away from time available for producing meat, of course, because we have the 8 hours. If we produce 8 hours, use 8 hours of our time to produce meat, then we will be losing our time in producing potatoes. So when reallocating time between two goods, Ruby and Frank give up units of one good to produce units of other. So thereby moving along the production possibilities frontier. So the opportunity cost measures the trade-off between the two goods that each producer produces. So let's first consider Ruby's opportunity cost. Okay. So according to the example mentioned earlier, producing 1 ounces of potatoes takes 10 minutes of work. When Ruby spends those 10 minutes in producing potatoes, she spends 10 fewer minutes in producing meat because Ruby needs 20 minutes to produce 1 ounce of meat. Okay, 20 minutes of 1 ounce of meat, 10 minutes of work would yield half ounce of meat. Hence, Ruby's opportunity cost of producing 1 ounce of potatoes is half ounce of meat. Okay. Now consider Frank's opportunity cost. So for producing 1 ounce of potatoes, 1 ounce of potatoes, it takes him 15 minutes because he needs 60 minutes to produce 1 ounce of meat. So 15 minutes of work would reduce would give him the 1/4 ounce of meat. So here Frank's opportunity cost is of 1 ounce of potatoes is like 1/4 ounce of meat. So like we can get the example here. So this is mentioned here. Okay, so when we get the opportunity cost, then we can understand this. Let's go very quickly because we don't have that much time. So international products like cycle theory. So other than doing the having this mercantilism and absolute advantage and comparative advantage viewpoint, the firm are doing international trade, and why this is because of the product life cycle. So we know the product have the from the inception to the maturity and the termination also, and this is called the product life cycle. And based on this product life cycle, the countries are doing business. So let's have a look on this. So if you see the when this is the inception of the product. So and this green line is the country who has innovated this invented this product, or who are coming up with this product. So from the inception to the maturity, when it goes from the inception to the maturity, when it goes this way, and very interestingly it goes when it goes to the maturity, then the developing countries, they are still taking it. They don't take it initially. Okay, so they are just trying to explore. On the other time, the countries which are developing companies from the developing countries who has come up with this product, they are at their maturity, like they're selling this, and still the developing countries are taking it. So at one stage they try to find out the copies of this of this product. So let's say give the example. So the television has started in 1940s in USA, in Germany, and then like they have produced the television. Technological know-how was not that much available, and the developing countries like China, like the India, they have consumed it over the time. When it like become the mass, and the product become the standardized, then developing countries already got the idea of how to produce the production, the system they knew, and then they started to produce because they have the cheap labor. Also, they know the prototype now, so they now in cases. And that time, the developing countries which have advanced economy, who has been the first in the invention, they reduce their export at that time of that product. Okay, so like this way, other advanced economies, they are also taking, and then after the maturity, they are also trying to produce, and then their system is going there. So this is actually the product cycle theory, which gives us the idea how, over the time of the maturity of the product, how international trade is changing. We, one time the ball is in one court, and another time the ball is in another court. So this is the way. Okay. Now come to the Michael Porter's diamond model, because he is explaining how nations enhance their competitive advantage, and he told farms can get the competitive advantage by four ways. So first, the farm strategy, structure, rivalry, factors, condition, demand condition, and related and supporting industries. Let's have a look on this. So like quantity and quality of labor, natural resources, capital, technology, know-how, entrepreneurship, and other factors of production. These are called factors condition. As for example, the abundance of cost-effective and well-educated workers give China a competitive advantage in the production of laptop computers. So, based on the Michael Porter's diamond model, this is one of the factors which gave them the competitive advantage in producing the laptop. Then related and supporting industries, like the presence of suppliers, competitors, like stakeholders, give a farm excellence in producing something, in having some industry. A very good example of the Silicon Valley in the United States is a great place to develop, software farms. Okay, and then a demand condition also, like if the country has the demands and sophistication, so it gives the idea of the competitive advantage. Like Japan is very densely populated, hot, humid environment, and because of this, they need a lot of air conditioner, and which give the excellence in producing the air conditioners. And like the farm strategy, structure, and the rivalry. So here the nature of domestic rivalry condition that determine how nations farms are created, organized, and managed. So Italy has many top firms in design industries such as textile, furniture, lighting, and fashion. Vigorous competitive rivalry puts these firms under constant pressure to innovate, which has propelled Italy to a leading position in design, worldwide. So now we understand, like because of different factors and different structures, the countries can get the competitive advantage. But now the question might come. The question might come. So, how a nation could think about it? So here you need the policies. Like we have to create such an environment so that we can get the benefits based on the fourth section mentioned in the Michael Porter's. So like that we can come up with different tax incentives, monetary and fiscal policies, and we can have the regular education systems, a strong national infrastructure, and then a strong legal and regulatory items. So you have to give the environment so that the local company, local industries get popular, because we have the if you have the people. Okay, so this is the like the initiatives should be taken by the government of this country. So now we have finished the first section of why farms trade. Now comes to why nations trade. Now come to why farms trade. I'll be very quick on this. So uh, because the internationalization is a gradual process, slow and incremental. Okay, little, and farms begin with exporting and progressing to foreign direct investment. So normally, firstly, the firms normally the cycle is like for me, when the firm come up with something, normally they're coming up with some domestic focus. And at one stage when they get some stable position, so they also get some free export stage. And let's say based on the demand from the externals, so they could go for experimental involvement as an experiment. And then if they become successful or they find it suitable, and they go for active involvement, therefore like they have a ground study, and they establish their they are having a with very huge involvement. So it's called the active, and this is the prime decision. And then finally they they come up with the foreign direct investment or something, and starting their own venture in the outside country. So it's like committed involvement. But this is not case for all the farms. Some farms are called the some farms are very international from the very beginning, from the outset of the first. So these farms are called the born global farms. Born global farms, farms international near their establishment and opt-in into the nearby markets first. So let's have a discuss more on the born global farms. There are a huge companies, especially nowadays, because of the globalization, because of the easy connectivity of through internet, social media network, and then other blockchain platform, also because of the easy mode of transportation. So the concept of born global farms now come into action. If we see Airbnb, if we see Uber, even this is not like the organization. Actually, yeah, it's mostly service related companies which are now coming up with born global farms. So many companies are there. So I just developed some question to you. What factors influence an entrepreneur to internationalize a farm from its inception? So this is the first question. And the second, what tools and platforms can a new entrepreneur utilize to establish an international presence from the very outset? And what are the challenges they could face while international their startups? So you could do it in their class, in your class. So you see, if we see the foreign direct investment and the leading destinations, we see USA is having the leading like in we when we call the inward foreign direct investment, that means they are receiving the foreign direct investment. So uh, USA is having the highest foreign direct investment attraction, and followed by like UK and Netherlands. Very interesting, being a small country, but still they are getting too much, foreign direct investment. China was also getting foreign direct investment. Very unfortunately, no African countries are getting foreign direct investment. So this is the case study why the countries in Africa, they are not getting the foreign direct investment, and not that much. Okay, so if we go the outward, hmm, outward for sorry it will be outward foreign direct investment, it will be outward foreign direct investment. So if we go there, so if we'll say United States, the companies in the United States, they also invest outside USA. Dutch companies, they are also investing. Chinese companies are investing. Switzerland, Luxembourg, Ireland, Belgium, and some Australian companies are also investing outside. So it's like the scenario of getting foreign direct investment to a country, and and going the foreign investment to other country from one country. Okay, so this is the, so how firms gain sustainable and gains and sustain international competitive advantage. So since multinational enterprise was traditionally the major player in the international business, scholars have offered numerous explanation of what makes these firms pursue and succeed in internationalization. So because foreign direct investment has been multinational enterprises, MNEs, main strategy international expansion, theoretical explanation tend to emphasize it. So there are three theory: monopolistic advantage theory, then internationalized theory, and then Dunning's eclectic paradigm. So let's have a look on this. I'll be very quick. So firstly, the monopolistic. So in this way, the firm gets the full control over their resources and capabilities in the foreign market, and also they achieve degree of monopoly over foreign competitors. So like because of their patent, because of their knowledge, because of their unique way of doing, because of their sole ownership, because of the many issues, they're getting the monopolistic advantage and they're doing the foreign direct investment. So let's say novartis, so they earn substantial Swiss company, Switzerland-based company. So they earn nobody earns substantial profits by marketing various patent medications through its subsidiary worldwide. So if we see the internationalization theory, so like international provide M&E with a greater control over its foreign operators, and because of this internationalization, it avoids the drawback of dealing with external fund partners, such as reduced quality control, the risk of losing proprietary assets to outsiders. So that's why this in this theory, the MNEs choose to acquire and retain one or more value chain activities. So here is the keyword is the value chain activities inside itself. So as for example, China. In China, Intel's the US company owns much of its value chain to ensure that Intel knowledge, patents, and other assets are not misused or illicitly obtained by the potential rivals. And then the other explanation is that Dunning's eclectic paradigm. So three conditions determine whether or not a company will enter in a given foreign market. So one is ownership specific advantage, location specific advantages, and internationalization advantage. So ownership specific advantages are like knowledge, scale, capabilities, relations, or physical assets that the firm owns and which are the basis of their competitive advantage. On the other hand, when they get the specific benefits of the location specific location related advantage like low cost labor, then skilled labor. So this is the location specific. When they get the advantage, they get the competitive advantage. And then also when they have the competitive advantage in distribution or in any of the value chain of the foreign manufacturing section. So this is another section of the Dunning's eclectic paradigm. So let's have a look at example of the Sony in China. So ownership specific advantage. Sony possesses a huge stock of knowledge and patents in the consumer electronics industry, as represented by products like the PlayStation and Bravia TV. Okay, Sony desires to manufacture in China to take advantages of the China's low cost and highly knowledgeable labor. And with regards to international advantages of Sony, so Sony wants to maintain control over its knowledge, patents, manufacturing process, and quality of its product. So this is the Dunning's eclectic diagram. Not so there are some non-based, non-foreign direct investment based explanation, like international collaboration among the collaborative ventures. So this is a form of cooperation between two or more firms, partners pool resources and capabilities to create synergies and share the risk joint efforts. So starting in 1980s, the firms increasingly began using collaborative ventures to venture abroad. Collaboration provides access to foreign partners' know-how, capital distribution channels, or marketing assets, also helps overcome government imposed obstacles. So this is all about today's lecture. Thank you very much to have the concentration on this. Thank you.